Welcome to episode 71 of Ring Talk with myself, Martin Tirrell, and with Steve Goodwin. How are you?
I'm good. Hot.
Yeah, was it you come in like flip-flops and shorts today?
Just no, I had nobody in today, so I could just sit around.
No meetings?
No, today just on the phone and doing bits and bobs, so
you go with dress down day?
Dress down day, yeah. It's all good.
Do you allow Kev and Josh to do the same?
Do whatever they like.
Do you? That's a good boss, that. It's,
whatever people want to get. If we got big meetings, then we'll dress accordingly, but other than that, come as you want.
Was Kev down at the board yesterday?
Yeah, we had 5 new boxes up again yesterday.
Right.
5 new boxes. We've been signing more. Got a good signing coming this week, good cruiserweight, and signed a new female last week, Sangeeta Birdie. So it's we're still signing, and we're on the verge of announcing our first show in Plymouth.
Yes.
We've got a date for that. We'll announce that probably when I get back off holiday. We're just working on the main event and some undercards. So our first foray down into Devon.
And so that'll be a full Goodwin boxing show run by yourselves.
Yeah.
Alright.
So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that.
When's that going to be?
It's going to be November-ish.
Alright.
We've got a date lined up. It's all booked. We just got to announce it all.
How do you find a venue down there?
There's not a lot of choice.
Right.
So yeah, we've had to because of the location of the hospitals. You can't go any further down than Plymouth because we wanted to go to Newquay.
Yeah.
But Plymouth is about as far as we can go. So we're looking to put together a really good card. We're quite excited about it, to be honest. So it's really
because you signed quite a lot from down that way as well, haven't you?
That's the key. Is what we want to do. We want to sign some more up this way as well. We're looking to do a show. We're looking to do a show Milton Keynes, maybe not Milton Keynes, but more Aylesbury, Luton, this sort of area, and we're building up a team of fighters to do that. But we don't want to. When we do shows, we don't want other managers' fighters, particularly on those shows. It's geared around our fighters, so we need to locate it around their areas. If there's a spare spot, we'll put somebody else's fighter on. May do something, but generally it'd be for our fighters. Once you've got numerical numbers that work for us, then we run. And we're like, for example, here we've got the numerical numbers to run now. Yeah.
And so there are some fighters out there that might have, been looking to go pro. That's around that area.
If you're Plymouth, come and see us. Definitely, we're building something there. Definitely in the Aylesbury, Milton Keynes, Luton, Leighton Buzzard area really is an exciting time.
That's probably anywhere up to Northampton because there's not a lot that goes on all the way up to there.
Yeah, we're going to build something here. We are really going to build something here.
Yeah,
and we're definitely going to launch that. We were toying with the open air thing this year, but we're definitely going into that. Back end of this year, early next year, we're definitely going to launch here. So we're just going into areas, but we need to build up the team of boxers first. We don't want to go there and not have a really good product.
Yeah. Right, before we move on, sponsors, because I always say people don't send in sponsors. So your friend, coach, trainer, Terry Coulter, sent in 2 for himself and his new charge, Jose Lopes, cruiserweight, who I think he's underachieved so far in his career.
Totally.
And I'm a big Jose Lopes fan. I've followed him from his debut all the way to where he is now, and all of the skill that he showed on that debut through to 4 or 5 fights. I don't think he's seen his full potential yet.
And that was there was a lot of things that went wrong behind the scenes for him. He was with Don Charles, and he was progressing well with Don Charles, and he left Don Charles, and then his training setup was ludicrous. I told him, but it bit him in the bum. And then he's been doing he went and got his degree, which is great. Found himself a partner, had a baby, so things outside the ring. He then decided we had a meeting, and he set up with Xavier Miller, which is a great trainer for him. But it was just the logistics of the travel. It was just in the wrong location for him to make it work.
When you've got a new baby as well.
Yeah, it's too difficult. So there was no offence to Xavier, so he then went with Terry, who was training more in his area, and they've gelled. So it's a great. They're both excited and they're ready to go. Jose comes back on the 28th of September, and we're trying to make a rematch with Ozzy Gervais for that.
Oh right, okay. Because Ozzy won last time by stoppage, didn't he?
He did, but now they would like a rematch, so that could well work for them and work for Ozzy. So if Ozzy wants to do it, I think that makes good sense for his fight. It's something that he wants to put right, and Ozzy's still a live wire, to say the least.
Presumably not looking to do that in September.
Yes.
Oh right, I assume they want one fight together. Yeah, slightly easier, not knockover, but okay.
No, they
want
to go straight in.
All right, interesting.
That's interesting.
The sponsors are AEM Demolition.
Yes.
Which is, I believe, Terry's friend. Is it Ricky?
Ricky, that's it.
So if you need any demolition jobs doing down... where is Terry based?
He's based... Terry sort of... He's over... He trains in East London and Essex, but he's sort of... I think he's... Sort of. Do you know what? I don't even know where Terry lives. I'm not sure. I think he's the other side of the water, but it's sort of the. But yeah,
he works in the paint and decorating industry as well.
So he gets around everywhere.
So, AEM Destruction, mate. If you need them, look them up. Alongside TMF,
who are a new sponsor they've taken on board.
Excellent. So thank you to both of those businesses for looking after boxers, trainers. The needs of boxers, fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant.
Right, so let's move on. Where should we start? Let's go
this Friday.
This Friday night, you've got the Goodwin Boxing Awards ceremony taking place. And a party, and a booze up. And so to clarify, there's food, music.
Three different acts.
Yeah, so you've got some country music for Trevor.
Country pop,
you've got
Andy Abraham, who was in X Factor, who done the Albert Hall in his day.
Yeah.
So he's great soul singer. And we got a local singer-songwriter who's brilliant, Eden Monteith. So we got that, but we've got the awards. But the awards, I'm really keen on the awards not dragging out. I think it's really important we can have that and celebrate the awards, but make that into a half an hour maximum here, so that people can carry on and socialise and don't overkill it, if you know what I mean. Make the awards and do it all and show your respect for those people that have won it, but then move on and have a party again.
Yeah, rather than some of the more formal awards ceremonies, which you have 2.5 hours of
awards.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that.
Yeah. All right.
That's not our style.
So that's this Friday night. So you're going to be honouring Prospect of the Year?
Prospect of the Year, 10 fights and under.
Yeah.
Prospect of the Year, under 5 fights.
Yeah. Fighter of the Year?
Trainer of the Year.
Trainer of the Year.
And outstanding contribution to boxing.
Yeah, so people that maybe are fighters on the road, or
people involved in the sport.
People involved, so Dave Evans is in there, and
Dave Cowell and John Patterson, the house seconds.
Yeah.
So it's very, and it's done on the votes, and it's all voted for by the boxers and the trainers and people that come to watch our fights, and journalists. So it's basically voted by those people. It's not voted by us. So that whoever's come out top. So we'll give a third, second, and first. And the first gets a trophy.
Excellent. So that's this Friday night. So we'll give the results next week as to.
We'll be doing that with Kevin because I'll be gone. I'll be flying
Where are you going?
Turkey Saturday.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. That's why you had to change the hours of the awards.
Yeah, but you'll do this next week. You'll be doing it with Kevin.
All right, lovely. So that'll be good, and then we'll give you the awards and tell you who won what, and give you a quick rundown of it.
Exactly.
Cool. So, all right, let's rewind it to last Friday then. Ultimate Boxer, did you watch it?
Yeah, watched it all.
I'm a big fan. They're getting better and better, these Ultimate Boxer tournaments. I still don't like the MC, to be honest.
No, the MC I thought was poor.
I can't abide him.
But I don't think it's very good. I think though they've got a good product. They're working at it. It's improving. I spoke to them on Monday. I said my only criticism was I thought the fights in between were not good enough. That was my only criticism because I thought the show was really exciting.
Yeah, so you had the lad that won Ultimate Boxer 1 was fighting Lewis Van Pooch over a 4-rounder.
And they announced it as a super welterweight and Lewis Van Pooch was 12 stone 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really great. And the other guy was it Ibravias? No, it wasn't Ibravias. It was somebody else. But it was another Jennifer. So that was a little bit took it off.
Underwhelming.
Underwhelming. I think they need to improve that. But I think the concept's great. Boxers seem to love it. and it's exciting.
The fights are brilliant. That Brashan, Erlington, I can't remember the guy that he fought, the guy that won, that went on to fight Mikel Lawal in the final. Such a good fight.
Damien Chambers.
Yes. Yeah. Such a good fight. That second round.
I think Damien Chambers was still concussed when he got the final, wasn't he?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I thought he was gone before he got in the final.
But yeah, I mean, I just enjoy the format, and I know they're borrowing it from Prize Fighter essentially.
But it doesn't matter.
I don't care. I enjoy watching it, and cruiserweights are the ideal weights for it. Big lads that can bang, that can go hard for 9 minutes.
Yeah. No, they got super welterweights now on the 20th of September. That's the next one.
Cool. I'm a big fan of it. It's grown on me.
Yeah, no, I just enjoy it. It's great fun. Yeah. Great fun. It gives lads a chance of exposure. They get on BT. It does help. It helps them build their brand. And I think it's. I mean, the only issue. The thing is that when they win, it's not actually, the fighters aren't going on to do anything. So that would be the night itself is great, but the movement when they win it, nothing's really.
Yeah. I said this the other day, but then in Ultimate Boxer's defence, is that their job?
That's not their problem.
It's the manager whoever wins it.
Correct. It's not their problem. So I don't blame them, because their job is not. They're not there to build up shows. They're there to do what they're doing. So that is not their problem. So that's not a criticism of them, but it's just the fact that these boxers are not doing what you would expect them to do.
Their product is almost disposable boxing. You put it on for one night and then you move on. And
you get another load of kids in and you go again. They're not building up although they are putting the odd kid back on again.
Yeah.
But they're doing that as more of a help to them rather than as a product.
Yeah, but you look, Shakan Pitters hasn't set the world alight since winning it. Derek Asazi hasn't set the world alight since winning it. Hopefully Mikel Lawal gets that push.
Yeah.
Because he's been on your shows before. He's a good talent, Mikel.
Although I thought in the first round, I thought listen, I like Mikel Lawal, but I thought there was a blueprint in that first round of how to beat him.
Stick it on him. Stay on his chest.
How to beat him. I think you're shown that Mikel has got a lot to learn, because if he doesn't improve from that, I think he's well beatable.
And it wore him out by the third round. He was shattered.
I think he's got to go back and address that.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, he's beatable when he moves up a level.
Yeah.
Got great power though.
Yeah. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
Move on. Did you watch Pacquiao Thurman?
Yes. And I have no respect for Pacquiao. So let's just say anybody that requests non-drug testing and then comes out, I'm not saying he's doing anything, but requests no drug testing and comes out of 40 and improves like that, and in other fights where there is drug testing he performs really poorly, I am not interested at all in Manny Pacquiao. I've got no interest in that man. I know people rave about him. I've got nothing good to say about Manny Pacquiao.
I wrote a piece for Square Mile magazine yesterday. Whether it ever gets published or not, I'm not sure. But I was asked to, about Manny Pacquiao, and I think I titled it something about suspending disbelief. And essentially the gist of it being, I find watching Manny Pacquiao is the same as watching a sci-fi movie. I can't believe what I'm watching. I can't believe I'm watching a 40-year-old man who's improved from when he was 35, a man who took a year out to go and become a senator over in the Philippines, and then came back and stopped Lucas Matisse in Kuala Lumpur with no drug testing. A man who's put Keith Thurman down, a man who's moved up from flyweight, taken all his shots. He was knocked out by flyweights. Granted, he was a 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid at the time. All these things to move up to fighting elite level fighters that can hit him flush on the chin and he doesn't move. I'm not saying he's a drugs cheat. I'm saying there are a lot of red flags that would concern me as to the legitimacy of how he's gone about his business.
Why request no testing?
They did test. I think they tested 5 weeks out from the fight. But
why not? Why not have random testing? It's, you know, and I know we can go into drug testing, and there's been lots of people. I spoke to people in great detail and know a lot about it, and you know that's overcome. Look, I have no respect for Manny Pacquiao as a fighter. I have no interest in his fights. I watched the highlights of it, watched most of it, on YouTube. I wouldn't pay for a Manny Pacquiao fight. He's in my opinion, I don't think he's all what's bad in boxing. That's my opinion. I'm not saying he's a drugs cheat because I don't want to get myself slot, but he's all what's bad in boxing.
There is a great podcast, Science of Sport podcast, that I've raved about for a while now, of a South African guy, Ross Tucker, I think it is, who breaks down, and it's not about boxing, it's about sport and how PEDs are used in sport. And it goes into all the micro and macro issues of PED usage and how sportsmen can use them out of testing, inside testing, how to get them out of the system, the benefits they have, even if that drug testing program starts 8 weeks out from your fight, how you front loaded it so that you can do all of your benefits and you still get those benefits when you step in the ring 8 weeks later. Science of Sport, check it, it's a phenomenal
With the amount of money involved in these big fights, I'm sure that they potentially could use all of that.
Yeah, I'm sure the sport is littered with it. Yeah. I'll put it that way. And then move on to Saturday night. Well, who was your highlight fighter from Saturday night? So the Dillian White card.
Chisora.
Yeah. Chisora, and from what I saw of him, Dan Aziz. I didn't get to watch all of it because it was on early. And
Dan Aziz is a quality fighter, but what happened with his fight with Charlie Duffield was what I expected to happen.
Right.
With the fight. It wasn't anything other than what I expected to see. You've got to remember Charlie Duffield had in his after having been put on the floor with a journeyman, was it Barenu, whatever it was that beat him. He's shown vulnerabilities. Dan Aziz is a serious talent, and I think there was just it's levels between the two of them. Charlie Duffield is a big puncher, but you can't punch when you haven't got the skill set against somebody as skillful as Dan Aziz. Yeah. Charlie Duffield's been a great servant to the sport, but it was nothing different than I expected. That's it. Yeah. So was I impressed with Dan Aziz? I thought he did what I expected him to do.
Yeah. But Chisora,
I thought looked improved. I thought he had a jab. His timing, he got caught a little bit, but his timing was good. I was very impressed with Derek Chisora. I thought that he really looked like he had learned a bit under Dave Caldwell, and he looked, his finishing was great.
Exceptional.
But he had a jab. He wasn't just throwing the right, he was throwing those overhead rights, but he had the jab. The jab was setting it up, and that was what I thought the difference was with Chisora on Saturday. So, to me, I thought he was the outstanding performance of the night.
Great power.
Really good. He deserves another shot at something, and to be honest, I thought I can't say any more than I thought he was. He was very good, and he's been a great servant to the sport.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the easiest to handle, but but as far as in the ring and as a sport, he's turned into like a little hero now, hasn't he?
I had this conversation the other day saying that I hope now he gets an Indian summer. What is he? 35 years old. I would love to see 2 to 3 years of someone investing into Derek Chisora and
investing in what?
Investing money into his career, so he's not necessarily fed to a Dubois, but instead he's given the same route of a Dillian White, some of those, the Lucas Brown on the way down kind of fights.
Yeah.
Those kind of ones where he's the home fighter against.
Well, he's going to fight Parker now, isn't he?
Yeah. And I think that's fair. I think
it's fair fight.
If he wins, he goes on and he can maybe fight for a world title again. No one begrudge that if you can beat Parker.
Absolutely. I think full credit to him for persevering. And
Dillian White, will he ever win a world title?
Depends on who he fights. I think it's whether the belts. I say the same as I say before. Let me just say something about the Dillian White fight. These fucking commentators. Are you fucking serious, right? Seriously, look at it. They had, after 8 rounds, they had 7-1 up to Dillian White, which is absolute bollocks, right? And then we get to the end of the fight. Do you notice what happened? Then he gets nailed and put down, and then he wins in the last few rounds, pretty much Dillian White. All of a sudden, he's only 4 or 5 rounds ahead. You think, what a load of bollocks, you can't publish a scorecard because you fed people with all this bollocks about you 7-1 up when he wasn't 7-1 up. And you couldn't say at the end, because based on your scorecard, you had him about 8 rounds ahead.
Yeah.
And it was ludicrous. So, listen, I understand that they've all got a job to do, but to there be a the commentator shouldn't just be a Sky cheerleader.
Yep.
And what they are Sky cheerleaders. Get back proper commentators who are going to give unbiased opinions and give us proper commentary, because it's total, utter bollocks and they should be taken off the TV. End of story. It's so annoying. I'm watching swearing at the screen saying, anybody listening to it's just like trying to indoctrinate you with propaganda. It's just bullshit.
Yep.
Let's have proper commentators who are going to call it as they see it, rather than thinking probably I'm paid by Sky, I've got to just say this bullshit and continue to do it.
Would you wipe out all the commentary team and start again?
Yes, they're all shit. They're all shit, biased. You see Eddie Hearn at the end of a fight, he will actually put out, I think that was close, on a tweet. He doesn't try and claim a wide win when there's not. So be fair to Eddie Hearn, I'm not blaming him, because he actually says it as he sees it. But these commentators, it's just like cheerleading commentary. It's not like the old times of Ian Dark and people like that
McCloy,
who are proper commentators who will sit there and give you an unbiased opinion how they're seeing a fight. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
So let's get that out of the way. As far as Dillian is concerned, I'm still of the same opinion I was. He gets ironed out by Wilder, gets taken to school by Fury, and beats most of the rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my opinion. Joshua, just not sure.
Ruiz?
That's a tough fight.
Yeah.
That's a tough fight. Ruiz might beat him. But I think what'll happen with Dillian, I think he'll get a soft touch for a world title.
It depends what happens with this Ruiz-Joshua situation,
Yeah.
where the belts end up, if they end up being scattered somewhere.
Well, I'm not sure Wilder stays to fight him. I think Wilder will be the emeritus franchise champion. So I think they'll move Wilder off and Dillian will get a crack. Dillian, I think, will become a world champion, but he won't beat Wilder or Fury to do it. That's my view.
I'm going to make a prediction. He never becomes a world champ.
I think that's possible as well.
And that's not because I don't like Dillian. I like Dillian a lot. I just don't think he's going to get the breaks. I think that there will always be someone a bit better than him in front of him. And it's not to say that I don't rate him at all. The heavyweight division isn't that great at the moment, but there are some very good fighters at the top level of it. And I think Dillian might suffer with that.
And that's well possible. Listen, I think he's done great with his career. He's earned himself a lot of money.
Yep.
You've got to take your hat off to him and say what a great job he's done. But I'm not sure. And you can't, he has had the opportunities to fight for a world title.
Yep.
And he has
for big money as well. Let's not lie about it.
Let's be honest, and this thing, he needs a break, he's never had a break. If you actually look back at the fights that he's rejected and turned down, he would have been there by now.
Yep.
But that people seem to rewrite history. Watch what's really happened. You don't feel sorry for him. He's navigating himself this way, and that's fine. So accept that, but don't bleat about oh my God, poor Dillian hasn't had his chance. Because look at the fights, the positions he's been in, the fights he's been off, and the fights he's rejected.
Yep.
So let's move on. But in terms of he did what he had to do, he won the fight. He did win the fight. It was an exciting fight. But you need that commentary off.
Right, let's move on. We've got an interview coming up with the guy that runs Facebook account, Twitter account, by the name of, the Twitter account goes on Boxing Domination, although it's spelled slightly odd if I remember correctly. Mohim Uddin. So he's a young lad and he's chasing his dream of, he's going around, he's interviewing boxers and he's going to shows and he's putting the hours and the effort in alongside his college work. A massive respect for the man. 17
years of age, and it's really good to let him, he comes to the shows and it's great to help him try and, fulfill his dream in boxing. So full credit to him, he deserves everything he gets out of the sport.
Yeah, and he's so enthusiastic about it. So here it comes, a little interview with Mohim, but go away and follow his social media accounts, which he gives a little plug to at the end, and we'll be back straight after. Right, with me now we've got Mohim, the man behind Boxing Domination, which is, for those of you that don't know, it's a Twitter account, it's a YouTube channel, it's keeping on top of boxing, it's supporting boxers that are up and coming, going to shows, getting interviews with them. Is that right? Have I missed anything?
No. I was on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
Which I will be back on it. So yeah, I'm just trying to get as many up and coming fighters on my platform so they can sell tickets easier and get sponsor deals. Nice.
So it's just giving them a platform that you can put up, and then they can mention what they've got coming up. And cool. So talk to me about, how did you come about to do it? What was your starting point?
So first, well, obviously Dave Allen would know about this one. I started off Twitter in 2014.
Right.
And then first when I made it, I thought, you know what, I'll do Twitter posts because that was very unique. And then in 2015, I started doing posts with Dave Allen when he was supposed to fight Ian Lewison.
Yeah.
Then Ian Lewison went off to fight Dillian White. So I was doing posts for Ian Lewison first. He started retweeting it. Don Charles got in. Derek Chisora got in. Then when I started doing it for Dave Allen, I got I think 4,500 votes. That got me very, interested in actually doing it. Started doing it, and then eventually I was advised by my brother and many people in boxing to try and get into shows, do interviews of fighters, promoters and managers.
Yeah.
And that's the way I started off.
Do you enjoy it?
I absolutely love it, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you enjoy about it? What's the best thing of going along to shows and getting to meet the personalities?
When I go to shows, I mean, most people think I go shows just to watch fights, but in the last show I went to, the Goodwin show, I probably got to watch. I didn't get to watch any fights.
I can vouch for this because I saw you backstage multiple times. I was running about, and you were often in a changing room somewhere getting an interview or waiting for an interview. Or
I wanted to watch Robbie Chapman. He's a mate of mine. I wanted to watch his fight with Bradley Spencer. Couldn't watch it because I was backstage getting an interview with Anthony Ogogo.
Yeah.
And just the best part about it is that when I see a smile on the fighter's face, so obviously in small shows, platforms are needed, boxing platforms are needed, because the more platforms there are, the better it is for the fighters. And sometimes when I interview amateurs, so I interviewed someone called Virgil at the Harringay Box Cup. He fights in Miguel's boxing gym. Interviewed him, it was the first of the time, and it's just a smile on the fighters' faces. And then when I interview up and coming prospects, usually they want people to see it, as many people to see it, so they keep promoting the video I do with them.
Yeah.
So that's the best part about it, to be honest.
Yeah. And you were saying before this, you're not used to being in front of the camera.
No,
you like to stand behind it and ask the questions. Yeah. Would you ever change that? Do you ever want to go and kind of be there with the fighter, or is that the style that you're accustomed to?
That's the style that I'm used to, obviously. But I do have plans of going in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Like now. But for that, I'm going to get wired microphones and then do that with fighters in their gyms rather than doing that at shows.
Yeah.
Because in shows there's around, especially at the Goodwin shows, MTK shows, it's just there's too many platforms trying to get in. So I need to see it as, I need to use the shotgun microphone like it's being used now, so that I can give the other guys, or the females really, to come down and have their time to do their time with the fighters.
Yeah. And how much time do you give up of your own, kind of, because people may not appreciate the amount of time that not just you're at a show, but then you go back and you'd have to go through the footage and edit it and add your bits into it.
For example, if the show's on Saturday, first thing I'll do is wake up in the morning, charge all my cameras, my batteries, charge my microphone, charge all the portable chargers that I take for the camera, and then after that, probably from 2:30 p.m. up until 12:30 a.m. I'm normally out. But just say, so when we go back to the James DeGale fight when he was fighting Chris Eubank Jr., I went to the MTK fight night on the same day, so I had to be away from home for 16 and a half hours so that I can get the people in the public weigh-in and get people in the MTK show.
Yeah. Do you have a girlfriend?
Not now.
Yeah, no, she won't be putting up with that. But then, I mean, you've got to get up on the Sunday then and work through all that footage that you've got as well.
Yeah, and sometimes I try and do it. So when I went to your show last Saturday, I think I had about 16 interviews done, and I couldn't post all of them yet because I still have to edit the videos. The one with Anthony Ogogo, Bradley Spencer, and those lot.
Yeah. So what's the aim for the platform? Where do you want to take it?
Obviously, I'm on YouTube now with 145 subs. I was previously on social media with 35k followers. I want to make it. I want to sort of make it quite big. I want to get more than 10k subs within the next couple of years. As I am 17 now, I've got time, so that's something I would love to do. Yeah, you have got plenty of time to do it as well. You're lucky. It's. I wish that I'd have got into doing these things, or the opportunity was there when I was 17, but. That's 20 odd years ago, so I'm very jealous. But do you enjoy it? Like, what's the best part for you? Like, because as a 17-year-old, it must be mad sometimes to find yourself in the positions that you find yourself in. Like, outside of what you get out of the gratification of the boxers, what's the best thing for you? Like, best thing for me is being given the opportunity unexpectedly. So if I was to get called up by Kevin Campion, so I couldn't make it on the 29th of June show, so I told Kevin I can't make it, and then Kevin for the 6th July he gave me a ring saying can you come to a show. So that was one of the things that obviously really got me more into boxing. And the thing that gets me into boxing is when I can see not only the fighters but also their families, with a smile on their faces. So sometimes when I interview some fighters, their girlfriend or their children would give me a smile, possibly even shake my hand, thanking them. And it's just if the fighter's happy, then I'm happy, to be honest.
What's been your best interview that you've done with someone, do you think?
Anthony Ogogo and Frank Biglione. They're both going to come out within the next 2 weeks.
What's it like? Give people an idea. Why should they watch those ones?
The reason why you should watch the Anthony Ogogo one is because it goes down as so he talks about his whole career. So talks about mental health as well. So people who suffering from depression. I mean, I've been suffering from mental health for a couple of years now. And he's actually given me some strong words during the interview and even behind the camera. So mentally, so people who are suffering from depression, anxiety, or any other symptoms, you can take words from someone like Anthony Ogogo, who's been there, who's done it. And he's also talking about the advices for the up and coming fighters, including amateurs, young kids, what they can do coming up, who they can pick as managers, promoters. So it's just and the same thing for Frank Biglione as well. Frank Biglione challenged for a world title against Fedor Chidanov later on.
You can't remember that. That
was probably before I started watching boxing, to be honest. But I watched a lot of his fights. It was a very good fight.
I listened to it on the radio actually. I was out in my car somewhere. Mad fight.
Yeah, he got stopped in the 12th, I think.
Yeah, he took a real beating, but proved that he had the balls about him that night. To go on and have the career that he had, that was, that legitimised his toughness.
And then he went off to fighting, beating Craig Richards, Ricky Summers, and then I forgot his name, the other guy who beat to win the light heavyweight championship. And then he obviously lost to Callum Smith, which was, I think, unlucky.
Hosea Burton, I think, was the one you...
So
who's your favourite boxer?
David Haye.
Yeah?
David Haye. It's David Haye. It's out of David Haye, Mike Tyson,
Do you go back and watch a lot of, when I say historical, David Haye's clearly not that old, but do you go and watch as old as his cruiserweight stuff? And
yeah, I watch.
I hope it's not the David Haye that lost to Bellew this year.
No, that was something that
the shadow of
made me
David
cry,
Haye.
to be honest. Yeah, I watch a lot of videos of. I've watched a few fights of Barry Jones. Obviously, not many people would remember him because he did retire young due to bleed on the brain, I think. I watched Acilino Freitas. Yeah, he's really good. I watched some of Mike Hunter, the father of Michael. Yeah. Mike Tyson, Ricky Hatton. There was another welterweight who Ricky Hatton beat. He was the Australian one. Costa Zoo. When it comes to cruiserweight, Johnny Nelson.
Oh, no one watches Johnny Nelson fight, surely.
I mean, I think Johnny Nelson fights,
he could put insomniacs to sleep with his fights, bless him.
Yeah, but it was a boxing lesson back in the day, so that was the best part about it. Well, I can't watch Floyd Mayweather Jr. fights because I do fall asleep in those fights. But yeah, other than that, I do try and watch some old school fights as well. Female boxing, Cecilia Bracus. Yeah. I try and watch some Layla Ali fights, but
go back and watch the super featherweight Floyd, not the through the lightweight era. It was that's far better than his welterweight. But what a fighter!
Definitely.
What a man. And so, where are you going to be at next? Where's your next kind of ventures? What you got lined up for the end of this season and into next season?
What in terms of boxing wise?
Yeah, shows, fighters, gyms.
My next interview is on Friday with Dion Juma.
Oh, excellent, okay.
It was meant to be yesterday, then he couldn't make it due to, I think he had to go somewhere for emergency. Right. It was meant to be today, but I came here, so I had to cancel that.
You're another one that's ducking him.
Yeah. And then after that, the 20th show with British Warriors, and then I got the Lucas Brown vs Tom Little with Sam Knoch.
Yeah, if that goes ahead.
So that's on the 27th, and then hopefully I think you guys got a show in.
There's two in September.
No,
nothing in August, I don't think. But don't ask me, I don't even know the dates.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. My aim for this summer is get around 60 interviews. Yeah. And then after that, just rest for a bit and then.
Sleep it off, come back.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time and coming up to us.
Thank you very much.
And where can people find you? On Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube? Give everyone the addresses.
You can find me you can find my personal page where I post boxing content, Mohim on Uddin. There's BXNG Domination on Twitter and Instagram. That's also going to be on Facebook. Facebook's going to be Boxing Domination. That's the same thing on YouTube. Just click the link in bio and watch some great content of interviews. Wonderful. There's also a Twitter question for me.
Is there?
Yeah.
What is it? Because I haven't got a clue.
I haven't got a clue, shall I bring it up?
Yeah, find it.
Yeah, he's named after the Mayor of Brixton.
Oh, Rob Martin. Rob Martin's a great man. But yeah, find us that, because if I'm honest, I haven't got it.
That one.
Here we go. Right, let's have a look. What has inspired you to work in boxing media at such a young age, and have you found the community to be friendly and welcoming? Rob is friendly and welcoming, I can promise you that. What about the rest of it?
I didn't see a question myself. Boxing media at such a young age. Yes, I did. Most part of it. Obviously, I'm not going to say any names, but sometimes it can be a bit of a tough situation because I am 17, I don't get many opportunities. So when I try and go to some MMA events as well, I know Boxing Domination, MMA, doesn't make sense, but when I try and go there, when they look at my age, they sort of say no.
You're possibly not allowed into some venues, I guess, at 17.
Yeah.
Just lie. Not want to check.
Yeah, I mean, but I do get told no for my age, but I just see it as, if I get told no tomorrow, I could be told yes. Yeah. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah. So what's the community of boxing been like for you?
It's been great. I mean, I can't talk bad about them because that's the sport obviously I'm in. But there are ups and downs. But I was always told by my parents as well, and by my brothers, to always stay with the people that can push you forward. So now that I'm coming to Goodwin shows, British Warriors shows, I know you guys can push me to the next step. So interviewing some of your fighters now, they may be prospects, but some years down the line, they may be the next Frank Biglione or...
Yeah, you grow with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what made you get into it then?
Get into boxing or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And wanting to, film people and do interviews.
Want to film people. I used to watch Marcus Viegas from Fight Hub.
Right.
I used to watch his interviews, and I started watching Kugan Cassius. I started watching Michelle Joy Phelps as well. And then eventually I thought, you know what, maybe that's the lifestyle I want to pick. Because I want to be a boxer, but I've got asthma. And
Right. That's right. Go and join the Tour de France, you'll win it. It's
yeah.
not a hindrance there.
But
Get some TUE sorted, it'll be fun.
Yeah, so obviously boxing with asthma, I did find it quite difficult in the amateurs. So in the long term of boxing, probably not. I do want to get into maybe about managing or becoming a bit of a boxing agent, bringing fighters for promoters. But other than that, I just think filming is something great, because that's something I'm doing in college as well.
Cool.
So.
And you're young, you've got all that time ahead of you that you can see, the more that you're around people like Mo Pryor at British Warriors and Steve, you'll pick up things, I'm sure, that will be fascinating. And I'm very jealous that you managed to do it at such a young age. I think that's brilliant. Congratulations. So make sure you follow this man, make sure you watch his videos, make sure you support him, help him build, and those platforms only get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So we wish you all the best. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Right, that was Mohim. So all the best to him. I said, he's just a nice lad, and he's so. The times I've seen him like backstage at York Hall, he's so respectful of people, not just boxers, but everybody who's around them and their teams, and he gives them distance and time, and he's just a nice lad. We're going to go and look at the card on September 21st, Night of Terror.
Yeah.
So, who's headliner? Let's start at the top.
So let's start at the top. We have Mohim Fazeldin against Josh Kennedy. I think that is just a fight and a half, isn't it?
It is, and it's got the added spice of Josh coming back to one of your shows, having been on your shows in the past and been managed by you. And now he's coming back to be in the away corner for a title that he won under you. There's a lot of narrative around it.
Yeah.
Against your new fighter in his weight division.
I mean, this is the final eliminator for the title held by Michael Ramabalazza, who Josh actually beat to win the title, if you remember.
On your show.
And now Michael Ramabalazza is English champion and Josh is fighting in the final eliminator. So Josh has not had the greatest career since he left. But, we wanted that fight. I think... for Muheeb, I think it's a perfect opponent for him. I think we're happy with it from our side. Josh is a lovely lad. I've got nothing against him, and I always wish him all the best when he's been fighting. When I've watched him, I've always wanted him to win. I think he's a great advertisement for the sport. He's entertaining.
He's a bit mad,
but it is what it is. He's not with me anymore, so. His career is not my concern.
So you want him beat?
I want him beat.
And Muheeb, I think that's going to be quite an explosive fight. I think, because Josh is high work rate, in your face, chase you down, doesn't carry a massive amount of power. And Muheeb is, I think, undoubtedly more skillful.
Yeah.
Whether he can keep up with Josh's work rate, that's probably the key to the fight, certainly over the first few rounds. I think it's a cracker.
But if Muheeb's going to be what we think he's going to be, he's going to beat Josh.
Yeah.
Because, Josh has been beaten twice by Tyrone McCulloch and then by Jason Cunningham. So to a certain extent, and his career shouldn't have gone this way, he's in effect the gatekeeper. Whereas if you're going up, you beat Josh Kennedy. And whereas I believed at the time when we had him that shouldn't have been the case. I think Josh Kennedy should have been the man rather than the gatekeeper.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from that. So we've got Humzah Awan.
Well, forget that. We've got another big fight.
Oh, have we? So,
We've got two other big fights on the card. We have Adrian Martin, Alex McCloy, English title eliminator. Don't forget that. That is an absolute barnstormer.
Yep.
So for Adrian, this is massive for him. This is his breakthrough fight. He's taken on an undefeated kid from Blackpool. He's got home advantage. He's got everything in his favour. Who would have thought that after he lost to Germani? So he really, this is his day of reckoning, and we hope that Adrian's able to do it. I think Adrian will rise to the occasion. I think he'll put in a career best performance, and I think he's got a fantastic chance. But McCloy is decent.
Do you think it's a bit of a hard question to phrase? Do you think he's got a better chance of beating Alex McCloy now that he's lost to Jamani Camiro?
1,000,000%.
Rather than if he hadn't lost to
1,000,000%. He got taught a lesson in that fight. Various things: preparation, professionalism, complacency. All of those. Now, that's not detracting from Jamani, who is a really, really good fighter.
And won again at the weekend.
Won again, he beat another undefeated prospect at the weekend. Jamani is quality. And we're having some few chats. There might be a few career changes for him coming up in the near distance. So wait to see Jamani.
Is he coming up Friday?
He's up Friday.
Ah, yes.
He's coming up Friday. So I think it's going to be, for Adrian, I've got a lot of faith in him. I think that loss to Jamani Camiro is the best thing that could happen to him.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see the best Adrian Martin we've ever seen. I think Adrian can put himself in line for an English title shot with this win, but on paper he's probably the underdog. But I think it's a great fight. The other fight we've got on, which is a Southern Area Eliminator, which I think is a great fight, is Darrel Church, Adrian Redman. Now Darrel Church, who's been there before for Jordan Joseph in Eliminator, fought on the Ultimate Boxer, where he fought Joel McIntyre. He now comes down in weight to super middle, which is much more his natural weight.
Yeah.
He should be effective. Adrian Redman, who has beaten everything before him, but hasn't faced anybody of the calibre of Darrel Church yet. He wants to make a statement, and I think that is an absolute cracker. 3 blinding fights on this card.
Yep.
Another card, brilliant. It's just a brilliant card.
Yep.
So now let's do the rest of it.
So yeah, remember this, September 21st. Get your tickets for it, by the way. Night.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start from the bottom of my paper, no particular order. Humzah Awan.
Not my fighter, with Costas Evangelou. He lost to Jordan Granham at home on his last show in Pickett's Lock. But it's very nice. We've put fighters on Costas' show, and Costas is putting his fight on our show, so thank you to Costas for doing that, and Julian. But yeah, so we're looking forward to see Humzah, and I hope he can get himself back on track.
Yeah. Ryan Copland against Dwayne Green.
Yeah, Ryan's second fight since coming back to us, since Kassan.
He did really well.
He did
really well.
He's
on his debut for you.
For debut for us, and he was so inactive in his previous situation. We're going to get him going now and keep him active. So Ryan's going to fight Dwayne. I'm hoping Ryan can just build again on that and move himself to 3-0.
Speaking of someone who's not been that active of late, A.D. Burden.
Well, he needs to get himself going now. Went to Josh Burnham, a couple of injury problems, a few personal issues that have definitely not been the greatest for him. So he's had a lot of boxers do. If you're going to fight, he's only a young man, so he's 23. But if you're going to, and he started with, he had a lot of momentum at the start and he stalled a bit. But it's time for him now to. The boy's got to become a man. And Harry Matthews is a worthy foe who's fought the likes of Chris Eubank Jr., Jamie Cox.
Yeah.
So AD's going to be up against somebody who's really been in there with the best. I think it will be a real thing of letting us know where we are with AD.
Yeah, and I think he did the right thing to step away from the ring for a bit, because
I think it's right as well.
There's so many lads that continue fighting when they've got lots of things going on outside of the ring that distract from their training, distract from their preparation, from their focus, that ultimately it tends to only end one way. I
Totally
think
agree.
To walk away from the sport for a little bit and take your attention, sort all those things out, and then come back. No issue.
I agree. Full credit.
Sheikh Waziri.
Well, this is a fight. This is now the Sheikh Waziri Phil Williams fight. Heavy. I was looking forward to this. And do you remember that the board made a mess up on the medicals of Phil Williams the night before, and the fight had to get cancelled, and both fighters were gutted. Well, the fight's still happening. It's a really good fight because Phil Williams is actually really improving. He lost 39-38 at the weekend to Naylor Ball.
Did he?
And people said he won. I had 3 or 4 people that watched the fight said Phil Williams won that or got a draw. He didn't.
Naylor's serious. He's a good talent.
He lost 39-38 in the weight corner, so that tells you it was close, very close. Some people thought Phil nicked it, some said he got a draw. Most didn't think he lost. He's actually improving, Phil. So he's Sheikh's in for a hard time. It's his debut. But if you Sheikh is like, when you meet him,
I've seen photos of him.
Oh my God, he looks like an absolute unit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun, that fight, a really good fun fight.
And Phil's one of the people who's up for the award on Friday night.
Contribution to boxing.
That's right. Liam Shinkwin against Reece Saunders.
Well, he had a bit of an injury problem. He had a car crash before he was going to come back. So it's Liam's come back. You've got to get this out of the way, maybe one more, and then we're going to go for titles with him. So he's got to get himself going.
Bailey Donald against Sergio Guglielta.
Yeah, well, Bailey Donald, really exciting prospect. He's only a young man from Portsmouth, trained by Darren Wiseman, who trained Joel McIntyre. Really excited about Bailey. I think he's going to be a star, and I'm really looking forward to managing him, and I think we can take him onto big stages and TV, become a TV fighter.
Darren Wiseman's serious about his lot down in the gym. He's very confident in where they're going.
Very committed coach as well, and he's got somebody very special here. Very special.
But I say he's very. I'm not going to say arrogant or anything like that, just very confident in what he's got going on down there. Yeah. So that lot that come through, because he took Joel on right at the tail end of his career, didn't he? The Ultimate Boxer tournament. Yeah. It wasn't, John Murray had done a great job with Joel for years before that. But this is his first batch that he's bringing through as professionals.
So he's like doing what the Xavier Miller's doing in London, taking a load of kids from the amateur and bringing them through.
I'm intrigued. I look forward to it. Paul Greenidge versus Gerard Goodrich.
So Paul's now stepping up to 6 rounds. Again, it's time for him to get a move on and move himself, 2 or 3 more fights, and he's got to be in the mix for titles. So it's his first 6th round. Gerard Goodrich is a tough man. He's fought the likes of Linus Dofia and others, and it's a good test for Paul at this stage of his career.
It's a good benchmark, 'cause Linus, I think, was the only one to stop Gerard, wasn't he? Gerard's a tough bloke,
isn't he? Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how Paul does against him. Yaser Ghena take on Alfie MacArthur.
So MacArthur's having a debut win. They're going to win on Saturday, so he's going to take on an undefeated kid, I think, by the time he does it. Yaser's trying to make some statements now and move up. He had a bit of inactivity, but now we want to get ourselves motivated and going. So get this out of the way, and then we'll look at. He ideally wants to fight on a Matchroom card. He's told me today.
Oh.
So that's going to be a possibility and something we look at. But yeah, so it's exciting stuff.
All right, here's one. Vasile Nedelcu versus Neil Parry.
That's a crack. Now that is actually, if you take the 3 big fights, that's fight number 4 on the card.
Yeah.
Because that is a proper fight. Neil Parry vastly improved in his last fight.
Billy Rumble has done a good job with him.
Yeah, and taking on Vasile Nedelcu, one of Xavier Miller's, they both wanted to go in a 50-50 to see where they were going.
Good.
So let them go in and let them crack on.
Good on them.
They both struggle a bit with tickets, to be fair, so this way they can earn some money, and the winner's going to go on. The loser can come again, but
brilliant.
But it makes perfect sense for the 2 of them.
Yeah, that's a proper fight.
Yeah.
James Verbeeten taking on Jamie Spate.
Yeah, debut for James. He's turned pro. Lovely kid. And he just said, I don't know how good I'm going to be. I just want to find out. Let's have a go.
Excellent.
Funny things have happened. I don't know. He's talented enough, but it's late in life. He's turning pro. But he just said, I want to have a few fights, see how I go. If I can win titles, I'll go on. Just none of this. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. Just a really nice kid who's trying his best to build a little bit of a legacy for his family.
Cool. Nice one. Graham Tirrell taking on Jordan Grannon.
Graham Tirrell now dropping down to 11-4. He needs to get down to. He's been fighting a super middle. He needs to be a super welter. So now Paul Reese's trainer said, "Let's get the weight down."
It's a lot of muscle to take off him, isn't it? He's a stocky.
Yeah, but they want to be fighting a super welter. So this is his fight. So hopefully he's not going on holiday and picking himself out the field, as he might struggle to do the 11-4. But he's really got to be fighting for titles, Graham, soon. Yeah. Get this out of the way and fight for titles.
Final one on there, Anelle Massey, with no opponent as yet.
It's always hard with females. She's had 2 fights. She drew with, I've forgotten the name now, the girl that drew with Sam Smith. Yeah. Vida Masakaiti. and then she took on somebody that ideally wasn't the right opponent last time, but it was the only one you could get last minute, and she lost, but the girl was just bigger and fast and too big for her. So hopefully she'll get off the mark this time.
So it's a restart.
A restart. Yeah, it's hard with women. You can't selectively build them as easy as you can. If a woman is turning pro and needs a bit of time and isn't the real article at that point, they're going to get found out.
Yeah, difficult one.
But she's still got loads of talent and can come. So, but she's got to get off the mark on this show.
I like the fact she's had 2 fights. She's not won one yet, and she's coming back again.
Yeah.
And she wants to be in the home corner, and she's going to keep persevering towards that aim. Brilliant. Right, now we're going to move on to the Q&A on my 3rd attempt, because I fucked it up every time. And we got a question from the end of last week that just missed the cut, so I'm going to put it in now. Asa, UK Boxing 11 on Twitter. Without naming names, I noticed John Pegg in a boxing social interview reference unlicensed managers who call themselves agents approach fighters who are under contract purely for the reason they are not under board jurisdiction, so are able to do as they please. Is this becoming a problem for you with regards to people tapping up your guys, and what do you think can be done, or what consequences should be put in place for such actions? Can I just say quickly before you answer this, there's an added advantage to answering this. Normally you can't talk badly of anyone who's got a boxing licence because they could then report you to the board and then your licence. Who he's talking about here, people that don't have boxing licences, so crack on.
I mean, it's fucking disgusting, right? Because we spend our time paying our licence fees, we do all the research, we learn the rule books, and others come along. Some people come along who are not licensed, promise people the world, and when you look back on it, in a lot of occasions, there's filling their heads with shit, and they're subcontracting the work to other people, and there's more of the pie being eaten up, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. Have I had that happen to me? Yes. And should it stop? Yes. I'm going to make a suggestion to the board, because you can't actually stop this happening.
No.
Apart from, you can go to promoters and say, if you start negotiating with people that are not licensed managers, you're in breach. And that's what I suggest the board do. That means that if somebody then goes to a promoter and they're not a licensed manager, they're one of these agents, and the promoter then deals with that person or has any boxing discussions with that person, then that promoter should be then hauled up before the board and there should be disciplinary action. It's the only way of stopping it, because if you make it against every rule for them to be able to communicate with any promoter, it stops it there and then.
It does on paper, but in practice would that work? So promoter A wants to get this fighter on his show.
Yeah.
Who sits in the middle of that is somebody who doesn't have a license.
So what you do is you make it that they cannot discuss it with people that don't have a license. Now, if I'm a manager and somebody comes along and does that, you can get them quite easily. It's quite a simple thing, but the board have to be committed to getting rid of this. But it's getting worse and worse. And I know it's happened to John Pegg. It's happened to another manager up north recently. Other managers it's happening to frequently, where people are masquerading as managers, but they're really advisors and giving people advice, and some of this advice they're giving them and fights they're putting them in are bordering on ludicrous. So it's something that needs to be addressed, and it's up and down the country, not in one area, but it's an easy way of becoming a manager without having to become a manager and working outside the board's rules. Behaving, the boxer has no comeback whatsoever. That's the stuff by private services agreements, which they've got nobody legally checking them. It's really a bad thing, and it's getting worse, and the board need to act, and I am going to write a formal letter to the board asking them to act on this.
So if a boxer signs a management deal with yourself, they sign the board terms and conditions as a manager.
And that's all I want them to sign, because anything else is not going to be in the boxer's favour, is it?
And that gives them recourse if you're not doing a right job for them. If you try and stall their career in some way, it gives them recourse to go back to the board and either try and get money off of you or just get their contract back, or both.
Correct.
But when they're working with somebody who's not under board jurisdiction, then that person can do whatever they want
they'll be signing a private services agreement that the board would not have any interest in, won't regulate, and it's got to go to the courts. No through the board, no adjudication through the courts. And if you're getting exploited money wise, tough. There is no comeback. And just go, if they think they know what they're doing, go and get a manager's license and come under the jurisdiction. Why do some of the people behave like this? Because they don't want to come under the board's jurisdiction.
Yeah, and I mean, to get a manager's license, you need to have held another license for 3 years, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go through your manager's course, and you go through the board interview process. And having been through that myself on the second one, fucking grilled me to death on that.
Listen, there are plenty of shit managers out there that've got licenses.
Yeah,
plenty of shit managers. But I do have a problem with the way that they conduct themselves. Some of these agents and so-called thing. We've got a case at the moment which is sort of half that way, but we're dealing with them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not unheard of that other managers might try and poach your fighters that have got board licenses, and that goes against all the board rules. So
that happens as well.
It's not even that it's only those that don't have licenses doing it.
But the only thing is, you can do something and block that. You need to stop the unlicensed people running around and acting as boxing advisors, and promoters should not be allowed to deal with people that don't have licenses.
Yeah, there's a brilliant interview with Lou DiBella on the TKO podcast with Carl Frampton and Chris Lloyd, and he was brilliant. He gave him like 20 minutes of his time, and I think the main thing that stuck out, the takeaway part I took from it, was when he described boxing as it's the Wild West. Like every other sport pretty much in the world is regulated under some form of centralised body. FIFA for football, the ICC for cricket, all these things. Boxing is the Wild West. It's so dispersed that gaps get created that allow people to sneak in that shouldn't be there. And then they can hide in plain sight as well. It's madness.
Crazy.
It is madness.
That's my view on it.
Right, let's move on. LBC1231 on Twitter. A question for Steve. He mentioned last year he had plans for an open air / outside fight night for this summer. You mentioned it earlier, actually, didn't you? Has Steve been those plans, or will it happen?
Well, I was hoping Linus Udofia would be active through the summer and in a title fight, but Linus chose to have a break after having 6 fights last year. I know there's a question I've seen come through, which I will deal with that afterwards. But so it was going to be built around Linus Udofia or Kay Prosper. Kay Prosper's tied up in the rematch with Sarah Mason, and he wanted that fight to be in September, not in the summer months. So because of that and Linus' situation, we couldn't nail it this year, but we'll be doing it. We want to build up something here March time, and then maybe take it to open air in summer.
Alright, cool. Skip over that. It's something to do with school sports centres in Hungary.
That's going to be Prince Patel, isn't it? School sports. I'm sure that's where he'll make his comeback.
Is he coming Friday?
No. Not invited.
Strange. I want to get on my podcast.
Do you?
I do. I want to spend some time. I'll become a Princeaholic.
You won't.
You won't. But I genuinely want to get him on. I know you've had first-hand dealing with the man before.
I've got to say to you, the thing about him is, one-on-one, no cameras, in a room, he's he's a nice fella.
Yeah.
But then public, his behaviour is nuts.
I want to get him on. I genuinely want to get him on.
Get him on then.
I want to find out. Yeah, I want to see.
Go to Barry Smith. He's a trainer.
That's true. I know Barry.
Go to Barry. Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting.
Do you know what? He'd actually be very good to put him on. But listen, I've got to give him full utmost credit for how he's got himself to that position, from a position where nobody wanted him, and so therefore you've got to turn around and go, full credit to you, mate, for getting yourself in that position and doing that. Yeah, and I said well done to him for that.
The way you've gone about it is mad. The way you've got yourself to number 2 with the WBO is insane.
But he done it.
I can't.
You got to respect him for that. Joking aside, you have to respect him for that. Most people, like what he did with Barry Jones, was absolutely appalling, and people will hate him and dislike him, and he's done bad things to a lot of people. But you have to respect how he's actually done that, how he's done it for himself.
So Barry, if you're watching this, send me a DM. We'll chat. I want to get prints up. Alan Curtis, question for Steve. I understand Steve has a plan for Linus. I'm waiting for the upcoming fight with Jack Cullen defending the English to pan out, which is against John Harding Jr. But what about the lack of activity for Udofia and maybe stalling his progression at what is a vital stage of his career?
Right, it's totally inaccurate, that. Linus had 6 fights in 2018.
Yeah.
Was due to fight Tony Jones. 6 fights.
No one fights 6 times, does
6 fights. So there's no stalling his career then. So he had 6 fights, had the murders with Tony Jones. We still kept him active. He fought on a Matchroom show, on Hayes shows, and he was flying. He then in March fought Darren Cardona in a final eliminator for the English title. So we've now had 7 fights in 15 months. This isn't stalling, is it?
Yeah.
Linus then said, I'm bloody knackered. I need the summer off.
Need to go and put some weight on.
I need a break. Because there was going to be no meaningful fight this summer because of that fight. So it hasn't stalled. The poor man has been working his nuts off, has been in camp pretty much for 15 months with no break. And he just wanted a break before he knew it's going to start and get serious. And it's the right decision. So there's no stalling. It's a perfect strategy from Linus to do that. He does need to come back in September. But he hasn't stalled. He's been as active as anybody, and he's had the perfect career plan.
And also, we mentioned it earlier with AD about fighters having changes outside of boxing. Nothing to do with their boxing whatsoever. Linus has gone through a bit of turbulence in terms of some of the things that go on in his private life. I know that around career, around people, etc.
Yeah.
Let all that settle down. You know, if you need the rest, go and sort all that out as well.
He's only missed 1 fight. He'd have had 1 fight in June, right? In a 6 round or an 8 rounder. That's all that's happened. There's been no stalling. So you can't say somebody who's fought 7 times in 15 months has stalled. So it's maybe a perception of the person who wrote that, but it's absolutely not reality. And it's Linus' decision, because he said, once I go into these English titles and I'm then really going, I am going to be flat out then, so I need to take a break before I go back in.
At that point, if he gets his hands on the English, he's then got either, mandatory or voluntary or push on towards the British, none of which you can stall.
He just wants a little break. It's the first time he's had a break.
Yeah. Is he there Friday?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I better stop saying he's fat. Need to say that, tell him Friday.
Yeah.
Heavens above, 3 questions. I like all of them as well, so nice one. If Steve Goodwin has a really talented young boxer on his book, how difficult is it to keep hold of them? And is it like football, where the bigger boys come in and steal them with promises of greater riches? If so, any examples?
Okay, so let's look at this. You have we get with the promoter manager thing. As a promoter, we can only do so much.
Yeah.
As a manager, like Florian Marku, I can do everything.
So to quantify the first part of that, as a promoter, there's a limit without TV money and without big sponsorship money and without all these things that feed into it. You can't, for instance, or probably won't, get British title shots on there or WBC international fights because the outgoing doesn't match the income.
And that's not the route we go. We like to take fights through the traditional route. But, so we've got to get back. I'm the manager, not a promoter. That's what I do. So I can take people through to British titles. I've took Frank Buglioni. My friend Mickey Amu and although I helped him in his early days, has took Richard Comey through to world titles. So we can do it. And if the boxers want to be taken through to these big titles and want to keep the majority of their money and not find that it sort of vanishes, filters out, then the smart ones would keep me for the whole of the journey. So, and also with my skill set of doing that, I'm able to do that. So, yes, what you will get, but not as a promoter, because if I've got a fighter good enough, I can work with Eddie Hearn, I'll work with Frank Warren, I work with Ultimate Boxer, I used to work with David Hay, I work with the platforms to generate them TV. It's not a problem. If they're good enough, talented enough, or Frank Buglioni will work with Matchroom, we made that choice. So I can take the fighter to whatever level. I'm confident I can take a fighter to a world title. But what you will do as a manager is I tell the boxer the truth. I tell them as it is, what we can do, what we can't do. I'm not going to fill their head with bullshit, blow smoke up their arse and just tell them what they want to hear. I'm not going to be Boris Johnson in Conservative election, or Jeremy Corbyn who's throwing all the stuff out when they, just to get the votes. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell them as it is.
Yeah.
Other people will come along, tell them a load of bullshit, and maybe they'll fall for it. The smart ones won't. So, can they come and get them? Yes. Has it happened before? Yes. Has it generally been successful for the boxer in the end? No. And would they have got more with me doing my job? Yes. But there are experiences when I've got new boxers now that I can say to them, look what happened to him, look what happened to him. Yeah. And if they're intelligent enough, they'll see what's happened to them and think they need to stay with us for the long haul. Because I can take a fighter all the way through and make sure they get the most money and they keep it.
Yeah, you've got good case studies now.
I have, yeah.
Again, from heavens above, do any of your boxers get the chance to fight on undercards at events like Saturday's O2? And if so the first one is yes. So you've had
loads,
plenty on Sauerland shows, McGuigan shows, Hayes shows, Matchroom shows, Warren shows. Can't think of any other big UK ones.
I thought them all, we've had them on all. Yeah.
If so, are there strict conditions put in place by the likes of Eddie Hearn on how many tickets each boxer must sell?
Depends on who they are. Yeah, I mean, it depends on who they are, what titles they're fighting for, and where they are in the pecking order. So if I take a young boxer and they've got a space on their show, and they're not that fussed about these young boxers, they're going to want them to sell a number of tickets. Then if they shine, different ballgame, they get a chance to shine. But yes, they're not going to put on a 34-year-old ex-unlicensed kid. Do you know what I mean?
So let's look at it at three levels then. Frank Buglioni, when he was fighting and defending his British title, did he ever have a ticket obligation?
No.
So it's purely purse.
Purely purse.
But that is not a problem for Frank because he had a massive following anyway.
But there was absolutely no...
There was no obligation to do so.
Neither Chisora. Chisora didn't sell it to you.
So if you take that as the top end of it, the bottom end of it, I'm not going to name any names because it's slightly more private on that end, but they would have top ticket obligations. But one in the middle, like Linus Udofia, when he went on Matchroom under the Hay banner, was his purely purse? Or?
No ticket obligation, purely purse. In that particular show, it was purely purse, no tickets to sell.
Okay. So once you hit that certain level, it's just...
It depends on the show, who it is, what the overall deal is. But yeah, you have from no tickets to all tickets to everything else. You've got to also remember that if they get a fighter that's going to generate them huge sums of money by ticket selling, they're going to be more prone to look and say, we want to do something with them. If you've got somebody that sells 5 tickets, they're not that fast. Look at Chris Jenkins. I don't manage, right? He won the British title on a Warren show, right? Fuck knows how they managed to do this. He won a British title on a Warren show, and now finding the away corner for a Commonwealth title, a lower title, on an MTK show. Are you fucking serious?
I think it's now for the British as well.
I'm
sure I read the other day.
Okay. So that's fair dues. So if it's a joint title, but he's actually now gone and fighting in the away corner again. Now, I don't know how much money he's getting for that fight. I know how much, and by the way, they're not going to have the budgets MTK that Eddie Hearn's not going to have. But you're talking about a kid that's won on Sky. Now, why is that? Because he probably doesn't sell a single ticket, and therefore, because he's got no backing. Matchroom aren't interested, Warren's not interested, and so probably what's happened is they canned him off to the corner, so now he's having to pick up the scraps. That's how important, even at that level, the promoters to take them on want them to sell. And obviously Frank Warren, when he beat Johnny Garden, it was an exciting fight, has decided he's not bothered about him.
I know, I can think of a case where you've had a fighter fighting in the away corner on a Matchroom show where there have been the options that if your fighter beat the Matchroom fighter, that fighter would get a Matchroom contract for 3 fights.
Something like that.
2 fights.
Whatever it may be. No, I've had that. I've negotiated that.
Are you surprised that Chris Jenkins didn't have that? And I know it was a voluntary, so there was no obligation, but so was the one that I'm thinking of that you had in that scenario.
Good manager. I'm a good manager. I'm not saying that Chris Jenkins hasn't got a good manager. I'm a good manager.
All right. Final question, and it's from heavens above. Dave Allen got strongly criticised for being pulled out on Saturday night. Have you ever been in a situation where one of your lads has been pulled out and subsequently criticised? 100% right decision though by Dave.
He should have pulled out. God, he was in hospital, for fuck's sake. I mean, why should anybody criticise the poor man? Poor man's ended up in oxygen and taken out on a stretcher, and the morons on social media criticising him. It's fucking appalling.
I think some of the criticism falls around where he'd previously criticised
Joshua
and Khan, both for. I think he said, if he was Joshua, he'd have to move away to an island after leaving like that.
Yeah, so he said a silly thing, but on the other hand, this situation was he was medically ill.
It's not a race to the bottom, people. It's not like who can be the biggest dickhead on social media. Like, if Dave said that, it's probably, and actually I know it is, but I'm just saying probably for the sake of it, that was the headline taken on an IFL interview. Actually, the context before and after it was very different to the soundbite. It's not a race to the bottom. Like, if Dave said something that makes him look a bit of a tit in hindsight, don't be a bigger tit and try and criticise him for...
So he was just getting beaten up in that fight. Beaten up badly, and it was painful to watch. And, at the end of the day, he was obviously... I think Dave is fragile in certain areas of... I'm not saying mentally is the wrong word to say, but just fragile generally. Yeah. And, we know about his outside the ring stuff, and he's a really lovely man, but he's fragile, and he was getting beaten up, and and things are wrong with his body, and obviously it sounds like there were things medically wrong with him. I know today he said he wants to fight again, but if I've got all these problems medically that he said he's been having, he shouldn't even be getting in the ring again without some really serious medical confirmation. But no, he shouldn't have carried on. He was getting beaten up. He wasn't able. If you notice, in the end, his punches were thrown just arm punches. He was never going to stop David Price.
What was sadder for me than it was horrible seeing David Allen have to ask to be pulled out. Why the fuck were Darren Barker and Mick Marsden not pulling him out of that fight? You could watch it and clearly see there was a problem there.
So why were they not pulling him?
So why was he allowed? Like, they would have put him out for the 11th round. I've no doubt about it. They were preparing him for the 11th round. It was only because Dave
Allen was smart. But corners. I've seen boxers pulled out on their stall. I think the biggest one was, the one I remember most, is John McCallum pulling out against Leon McKenzie. But his eye was busted. He was losing the fight. And it was the right decision. It's not quitting. It was the fact that he wasn't going to win from the position. I know John said he was up in the fight, but he wasn't. And his eye had gone. And that's not quitting. That's just being sensible. Health comes before anything else.
You can come back another day if you do that. Or, even if you can't come back another day, at least you can still see next week.
That's the right thing to do. And that's the only time I remember. In a big fight, I can remember a fighter not continuing, but that was the right decision for John, just as it was for David Allen at the weekend.
I mean, also when you look over, Maxim Dadashev is the Russian guy that has died today. Did you see his corner work from the weekend?
No, I haven't seen that.
So Buddy McGirt, who's his cornerman, Hall of Fame trainer, Maxim wanted to go back out for the next round, and Buddy McGirt sat him down in the corner and he said, "Mate, you're not going out. Like, listen to me. I can see you're not right. I can see this shouldn't go ahead. I can see da da da." And the lad, like, there was nothing to suggest right there and then that Maxim had a bigger problem than what it looked like there. And yet he's passed away today. But Buddy McGirt was the one that forced him not to go back out for that next round. So, there was already an underlying issue there, you suspect, whatever it was.
So what you're going to say, if David Allen had gone out for that next round, his situation may have been worse than it is today.
Yes.
And they were going to send him out in something you could obviously see. He wasn't going to knock him out. He was 10 rounds in. He was getting battered.
He said he saw like 5 of David Price.
Yeah. And they were going to send him out. That's poor, isn't it?
There is no need to criticise Dave Allen for quitting. And people see the word quit as being this awful, dirty word. Like, why? If a football manager quits a job, no one goes, "Oh, he's a right weak."
No, but Joshua quit in his fight against Ruiz, but he was getting beaten up, and if he'd carried on, he'd have just been beaten up even more. When you're not going to win a fight, you've lost the fight. It's time to stop.
Yeah.
Why should you get pummeled to unconsciousness? You've lost the fight.
Yeah. You're going to get paid the same amount.
I agree. And you've lost the fight. The fight's lost.
Whether you're stretching out or you walk out, you're getting paid the same amount, but one way you get to have a healthy life, one way you possibly don't.
I'm with
Dave Allen in how he handled that situation, because that's also, it's a very brave thing to do, to quit, with all those cameras pointed at you, all those people in the arena, all the talk you've done before a fight, all these things, and then you've got to sit there in that 1 minute where you're probably quite panicked and quite mentally drained from everything that's going on and all those thought processes, and you've got to make that decision yourself to pull yourself out. I find it admirable.
I agree.
But yeah, there we go. Right, so you're not here next week.
Kevin's doing it.
Kevin's here. I'm not here the week after.
So we'll have a week after and then we'll be back again.
Yeah. I'm doing
Where are you
stuff.
going?
I'm not actually going anywhere, I've got a week off work and we were debating going away. We've got 4 kids and we cannot be fucked to go through the process of going away with all of them. We probably will next year, and we have last couple. I think so. Instead, we're going to base ourselves at home for a week and go out and do loads of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like the London Eye and the Shrek experience in London and Chessington World. Like base ourselves at home and go out and do stuff for the full week to break up the school holidays, rather than having to pack bags and get suitcases and get passports out. We're just going to do it that way.
Have a good break. But first we got Friday to get through. So
get through Friday, and I've got to get up Saturday and take my girls to a party. So
what time's that?
About 9:30.
Good luck.
I know. Might have to send the wife. Right, lovely. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and it'll be Kevin and I next week here, and we'll chat about some stuff. Don't know what it'll be yet. We'll make it up as usual.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. Thank you very much, and take care.